This is Capital Games Movie Club. I am the Wiz.
And I'm Kim Shactman.
Kimmy, how are you today?
Hey, I am doing pretty great, knowing that I'm going to be on vacation next week.
Yeah. According to Kim, she's going to this imaginary place called, let me get the typing here, Aruba? Honestly, I think she just wants a week off from this, so I'm going to give it to her. I'm going to give it to her. Because I know I'm a tough person to deal with at times. People need breaks from me. I know that about me.
That is not why.
It's perfectly fine, Kim. You can tell me, but it's cool. You go to Aruba, sure. Okay,
Aruba.
Have fun.
I'm going to.
I hope you have a good time in that imaginary land called Aruba. Let me know how Cocoon is as well while you're there.
What is Cocoon?
Moving on. Okay, so I'll tell you later. We are discussing we're having a theme with baseball movies for the next couple of weeks, and we are going to discuss the 2014 film $1 Million Arm, directed by Craig Gillespie and starring Jon Hamm, Alan Arkin, and Lake Bell. Kim, how many times did you have to wipe off your brow while watching this movie?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
God.
I had to have the fan on me the entire time. Oh, God.
I had to take a shower when it was over.
Honestly, if I wasn't so straight, I would. God.
He is just the sexiest man on the planet.
My Lord, it's not fair. It's just not fair. How can I compete with that?
You can't. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
You really can't
I can't. God.
No man can.
God damn it. It's not fair. Anyway. So there's a lot of things to discuss with $1 Million Arm to a certain extent. We could talk about the story in itself. We could talk about the star Jon Hamm. I'm going to be honest here. Jon Hamm, in regards to film roles, has not been hot. He's done some good supporting work. He was in The Town. He was also in Top Gun Maverick. He also was in Baby Driver. I wasn't a fan of Baby Driver, but he was also in Baby Driver.
I haven't seen that yet. I don't know if I want to.
Some people do like the movie, quite a bit actually. But
actually, you know what? I think I started watching that and I shut it off.
You're probably better off. But yeah. But of course, if you know Jon Hamm, you know him from the hit TV series, probably one of the best TV series of all time, Mad Men. Yes.
Oh, I love it.
Mad Men is my number 2 favorite series of all time.
Oh, what's your number 1?
The Wire.
Oh.
With a bullet. Like, what you can't even... There is The Wire and there is everything else.
I don't think I've ever seen The Wire.
The Wire is okay. It's a little tough to watch now because I think the first season was done in terrestrial 4x3, and then the rest was done in film. But they also do a lot of different things that other TV shows don't do. So it is. I'll tell you a little more about it after the podcast because
sure.
Again, another thing I can go on all day. But Mad Men made Jon Hamm a star for good reason. It wasn't just the looks that he had, because he had the looks the entire time. He couldn't really make it in that time. But it was not his acting chops for that series. The way he played Don Draper. It was a multi-layered performance that spanned throughout the entire series that kept being interesting as time went on. And that's also due to the writing of that series, too. But Jon Hamm made that series what it was. After that, I kept thinking, oh, he'll be a movie star. No doubt about it. Hasn't worked out. It really hasn't. He still gets to star in a few movies. He did a Fletch movie recently that I really haven't heard great things about. He also is in Tag, which, okay. He didn't really get to the plane where I thought he would as an actor when it came to acting in movies, which I thought was...
Do you ever feel like, though, like, he did this TV series and it was like this huge, huge hit, and now it's like nothing else can compare? Well, nothing else, but I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, he can't live up to... There's not... he's done it.
There have been TV series that were popular and then made stars out of their that made movie stars out of their stars. Moonlighting is an example. I don't know if you've heard of the show Moonlighting.
No, I've
Okay,
never
so
heard that.
this starred Bruce Willis, and I
Okay.
forget the other actress. I'm sorry, I'm terrible, but
You're fine.
Bruce. It was a celebrated show. People loved it. It wasn't a hugely popular show, but then after he did Die Hard is when he became a huge star. That's what needs to happen usually. Is that when you get that big TV series and people start to notice you, then you get the movie role that propels you. George Clooney is another example. George Clooney was known for ER, and then it wasn't until Out of Sight, when he did a great job in that movie, that he became a movie star.
I guess my question for you is, how long between the series and then the hit movie would you say? Is there like a pretty long span in between, or do you feel like
you have to do
from
it
what you've seen?
You have to do it immediately. You have to. It has to be like a year or two, and you have to choose the right role. And I think that's the problem that Jon Hamm had. If we let's look at the Hamm man's filmography after Mad Men real quick. I mean, I guess that's
Hamm man. I love that.
I guess that's what we're talking about. I was gonna go on with the writer and everything, but fuck that. We're gonna just go on to Jon Hamm.
But hey, I must say I do like the writer of this movie. The director, I don't even know him, so.
The director's not bad. The writer has done a bunch of different movies. I'll have to look back into what he did.
My favorite movie that he did, this writer, is Spotlight.
Spotlight is excellent.
Such a good movie.
Okay, so if we look at Mad Men, if I can find it, good lord, he's had 110 credits to his name.
Wow.
I didn't know that. Like, I honestly did not know that. Mad Men ended in 2014, I think, right? So,
and that's when this movie was.
$1 Million Arm, which tanked in the box office. He did some guest stints in Parks and Rec. He also did it in 30 Rock. He was funny in 30 Rock. Oh my God.
He was. I love 30 Rock.
I'm looking at the other things. The Incredibly Poor Decisions of Todd Margaret. That was an okay hit in Britain. That didn't do so well here. Absolutely Fabulous, the movie. The Last Man on Earth. He's done some interesting things, but not to the extent of he really hasn't done anything that propelled him to be a movie star. But that's actually fine, because movie star limits you to what you can actually do, and that is what allows Jon Hamm to do more interesting roles. Because if he was a bona fide movie star, he wouldn't be able to do things like Beirut or Tag, or the most recent movie that he is in. Let's look at that. What I just said it. He's going to be in the Fargo TV series coming up. The Fletch movie that just came out recently. He wouldn't be able to do those roles because it would be all about making money. So on the one hand, yeah, it's cool that he gets to have more diversity in what he is doing. But on the other hand, I thought he could have been a bona fide movie star, but I guess it's better off that he's not, to a certain extent. So, okay, that's fine, at least. So, are we done splurging on Jon Hamm, or do you want to continue, or do you want to get to the review?
We can get to the review.
Okay. So we're going to go on to the review of $1 Million Arm, starring Jon Hamm, Alan Arkin, and Lake Bell. I think the first thing I have to point out with $1 Million Arm is that, in all intents and purposes, it's pretty formulaic. But it is also a Disney.
Yes.
It is a Disney movie.
I was just gonna say it's PG. It's
right.
Disney PG movie.
All right, but just because it's PG doesn't exactly mean it has to be formulaic. But because but it is Disney, so it has to maintain a certain formula in order, because they did this for a mass audience. And it really shows in this, especially in the scenes where Jon Hamm is in India. It feels like they may have shot in India, and I might be wrong. They might have shot in certain scenes in India, but it just feels like in certain scenes it's like they found a dirt field. I agree with you on that. Oh, and there just so happens to be this place here. It just so happens to be an area where people play ball or play cricket in this area, and it could be India, or
I don't know. Now I'm curious. I'll look that up.
It probably, honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if they did shoot it in India, but they just chose poorly at the location. I would say probably of the India portions, I'm guessing 15% was shot in India.
Let's
20,
see.
20 maybe. I don't know.
I'm trying to look it up.
Don't look it up. I mean, we're gonna slow down. Why are you doing that? Why are you trying to correct me during this? God.
I want to see.
Okay, go ahead and see. Go ahead and see. You're already doing it. Good Lord.
Filming locations.
Oh, I don't doubt that some of it was filmed. I'm just asking the percentage of what was filmed. I don't think they're going to actually tell you. IMDb,
yeah, it doesn't tell me.
IMDb will tell you the locations of which it was shot. That's not a problem. Yeah, like India does show up on IMDb.
Yeah,
but
it doesn't tell you where.
Yeah, like it just says India. Like literally, it just says, hey.
Oh yeah, if you go to Google, oh, India. Okay, where in India?
Great, thanks. But
India's huge.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised if like the town scenes in this are shot in India. I can believe that.
That's what I was thinking, yeah. And then the dirt fields, like the villagey scenes.
Yeah, like the village scenes, I would say are more than likely in India.
Is villagey a word? I just made that up.
Sure. let's go nuts. Let's butcher the English language.
Let's just make up some shit.
Why not? But yeah, like I honestly, the scene that they had with the Taj Mahal, I wouldn't be shocked if that was CGI'd. Like shocked.
Yeah, that was like a really cheesy looking shot, I feel like.
Yeah. I want to say that it's formulaic because if you're really looking for something different in these baseball movies that are heartwarming and all that, you're not getting that.
Feel-good movie.
Yes, you're not getting that. It is a boilerplate, formulaic type of movie like that. It is just what it is.
You know what movie I think of when I think of formulaic and baseball is Rookie of the Year.
Especially for kids movies, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
There's a movie that baseball wise, when it came to kids movies, I think was actually really good. Well, for its time and for my age at the time, that I thought was actually pretty good. That not a lot of people talk about was Little Big League. And
I forgot about that one.
Yeah. Rookie of the Year was fine the first time I watched it, but then I guess I've always been this way. After a certain point, I started watching this, going, yeah, that's a little ridiculous. Or like,
yeah, when you're a kid, you think it's wicked funny, and then you watch it now, it's like, meh.
Have we all said funky butt loving at some point in time?
Yeah. Oh God.
But it is but $1 Million Arm is formulaic. It is by the numbers. You can tell what's going to happen if you've seen enough of these by point in time. But the thing is, Kim, sports movies are, aside from, I would say, action movies, are like the #1 comfort food movies for a lot of people.
I can see that.
And I would say that if that is your thing, if you like sports movies, and it is your comfort food, I don't see you going wrong with $1 Million Arm.
No, not at all. I felt like it was such a feel-good movie. Like, I was like, oh, this is really nice. Like,
yeah,
this is a nice movie. Like, that's just like kind of how I thought of it.
Right. It doesn't go too deep on certain things that it could.
Right.
But it doesn't, how do I put this? It is family-friendly, so it won't go too deep on certain things. It insinuates certain things, but enough to where if a kid's watching, it'll go right over their head. But yeah, it is formulaic, and it is a movie that is designed for as massive as an audience as possible. But the thing is, movies like that aren't necessarily bad. They're just not interesting. Especially for someone like me, who's seen as many films as I have. Honestly, like, sports movies aren't my thing, but even I could say this is this is a good movie. I did enjoy it. I did enjoy watching it, even though I really wanted more to be said about the story, because the story itself is interesting. Do you want to go into what the story is?
I mean, it's a true story.
Yes.
It's a true story. Yeah.
It is very true.
And
Okay, you know what? I'll get to the plot. The story...
You're just cracking me up on that. It is very true, Kim.
The story is about an agent played by Jon Hamm, whose business is failing. He runs an agency, and it's failing. And his last-ditch effort is a plan to go to India and recruit people who play cricket in order to recruit them to play baseball and do pitching in baseball. That's where the story starts in this. If you've read about the story a little bit, you probably know what happens. But we'll get to that in spoilers, I would say. So we'll get into when that time comes. So let's get into performances really quick here. Jon Hamm is Jon Hamm in this. I mean, is that a bad thing? No. I like Jon Hamm. But, Jon Hamm is Jon Hamm. He Jon Hamms it up. He's just Jon Hamming. That's just what he does.
He's just Jon Hamming.
I like Jon Hamm.
He's good. I thought his performance was decent in it. I mean, it definitely, obviously wasn't Mad Men, but again, it's the type of film that it is, right? Like, it's the writing. It's like you said. It's like
sure. But but there are movies that are this formulaic that do give that standout performances that are leagues above what people were expecting. One movie would be Primal Fear, for example. That it was a basic courtroom drama with a fantastic performance by Edward Norton. That is possible. That an actor can overshoot the material that he has. But yeah, Jon Hamm was just Jon Hamm, and that's fine. He was charming. He was handsome, and he
played a really good douchey agent in the beginning.
He did in Mad Men, which is fine.
Right. That's like his thing.
Yeah, and again, and as the movie goes forward, he gets into his charm, and he has that smile, and he doesn't really shave, but he kind of does, and it's kind of handsome in that weird way, that I can't really pull off for some stupid reason, but whatever, because I'm not fucking Jon Hamm, God.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah, don't we all? But yeah, Jon Hamm was good in this. Alan Arkin had a good performance in this. I mean, he was funny. He was just funny in this.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he played the humor, right?
He was the curmudgeon for about 30 to 45 minutes. He was good.
Yep. Yeah.
And I actually liked Lake Bell in this.
I liked her in this a lot.
Yeah.
I thought she was really good.
You know what, though? I get really annoyed when you tell me that, this woman right here is not the hot woman. When I'm looking at her go, she's hot. Like, what?
I think she is. I think she's... I don't know about hot. I think she's really pretty.
Yeah, no, I agree. But you know that when they do these types of roles, he's the womanizing guy who only goes for models.
And she's like the girl next door that
Yeah.
Where she's studying to be a doctor.
I know,
whatever.
But then I look at her and go,
she's a good-looking doctor. Hello.
Damn right. Like if I had to go to the doctor and I was like, oh God, hi.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
Hello. Yeah. What am I here for? Okay.
And obviously, it's her character and her personality, that makes her hot, right?
Yeah. That and her looks, but yeah, definitely. Yeah. I just get annoyed by that trope a lot, and I get annoyed by it more and more now, because every time I'm like, oh, and this is the hot one, and this is the right? No, she's hot too. What are we doing here?
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I get it. Okay, but I think the best performance of the movie was Lake Bell, and I think she was the most charismatic in this.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
So I liked her a lot in this as well. Okay, I mean, we're going to have to talk about it now because we can't get the spoilers. The two kids that they get from India, I did not like them very much in this.
No?
Not really. Here's the thing.
I was kind of bored with their performance.
Well, okay. To be fair, they're playing... This is a double fish out of water movie. The first half of the movie is the fish out of water story with Jon Hamm going to India, and the second half is the fish out of water story with these two kids going to America.
Right.
So there was that interesting kind of dynamic there a little bit that they just did not get into, really.
Right.
But they were playing those characters pretty straight. They were deer in headlights. I don't know where I'm at. I'm so scared. I don't want to mess anything up. I'm so but there was no depth to the performances. Period.
Well, I guess that's what I mean. That's how, why I was bored,
Yeah. And it's not like India doesn't have a breadth of good actors. They do.
Right.
They have a thriving film industry there. thriving, that they could have easily hired for this movie. And I don't know if they are part of that system, but now, to be fair, either the script hamstrung them to a point where all they can do is just look like they don't know what's going on, or look like they're disappointed, or I don't think they just could carry the movie the way that they could in this. So with those performances, I was like, that could have been a lot better. But since they're not which sadly, they're not the focus of the movie, it's not that big of a deal with their performances, at least.
Right. You know who I really liked was the other little Indian guy. What was his name?
Oh shit! Let me find out.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know you're talking about the
one that was obsessed with baseball.
The chatty guy.
He came like he was like the assistant kind of.
Amit.
Yeah.
The actor's name is Peter Bosch.
I liked him.
He wasn't bad. No,
he did a pretty good job.
He was I guess the comedic relief in this movie. I guess.
Yeah.
I guess when Alan Arkin wasn't there,
right,
he was the comic relief. I'm curious to see if the other two actors have been in any Bollywood movies. Oh yeah, they have. Okay, I'm looking at them right now. So they are part of the Bollywood system. So I guess I look at it and wonder. I haven't seen any of their other films, but I guess this guy was in Life of Pi, so.
And I think the other guy was in Slumdog Millionaire.
Yes, he was. So they've had good performances in the past. So I don't know why this one fell
short.
And I think it was due to the writing. I really think it was, because they really didn't give anything for these characters other than they're from India, they're coming to the U.S., they miss their family. Like, there was nothing else there.
And they're scared of disappointing
yes.
JB,
right. So, not a lot there to that certain extent. Like, if I were directing this movie, if I were writing and directing this movie, I would say...
Oh, please tell us. What would you do?
Oh, shut up. Good Okay, you know what? Fine. Whatever. I'm not putting up with this abuse, Kim.
I really do want to hear your opinion.
Okay, so if here's what I would do in this situation. Now, of course, Disney would probably laugh me out of the room. I honestly would centralize this movie more in India and have it shot in India. Like, the first half of the movie should be shot entirely in India.
Mm-hmm.
And then where you get to know these kids and their life. And then the $1 Million Arm thing starts happening. And at that point, you get to know the hustle and bustle about it, and you're introduced to these two characters. Okay, and you get to know their upbringing, what they go through, their stuff like that, which the movie just glazes on.
It barely touches upon it.
And then when they win the $1 Million Arm thing, and they go to U.S., then at that point you bring in Jon Hamm, and you bring in the agent and everything, and you go into that fish and water experience, but keep it centralized on those characters. Keep them as the main characters, and keep everybody else as supporting. Because I think this would have been a much more interesting movie if this were more about those kids than it was more about the sports agent who's having a midlife crisis and a crisis of believing in himself. I think that story was a lot less interesting.
It's just very, typical.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's a less interesting... It's less interesting that way in there. And on top of that, you can go into what happened with these two kids, after all this was done. Because there is another story behind it as well.
For sure.
More interesting. The direction they went into it, it's fine. It's entertaining, I guess. It is entertaining. It's been done before. And
I was going to say, I wonder why they went that direction. Is it more just because of, the true story of it? And, that's how, the original agent wanted? I don't know. I don't understand.
I can speculate, but I think this is why. The executive producer of this movie is a guy named Bill Simmons. Bill Simmons is a sports podcaster. I listen to him. He's good. I like him as a podcaster. But he also did movies for ESPN. He did the 30 for 30 franchise. He's also done movies for HBO. And he still does it with his company, The Ringer. When this movie was coming out, he had an interview with Jon Hamm, and basically it sounded like Bill Simmons was spearheading this, but he was spearheading it in a way where he wanted to work with Jon Hamm.
Oh.
He wanted to strike while the iron's hot after Jon Hamm got finished with Mad Men, and he's like, I want this movie to be made. It's an interesting movie, but the only way to get this get this going is if I attach Jon Hamm to it. And if you attach that actor, he has to be the star.
Because Mad Men just finished up in 2014, so that makes sense.
That's my speculation on that. I think that's why they went that direction. But I think the more interesting story was just kind of glazed over in favor of this morality play that's been done to death and this romance angle. While I do like the actress that is involved in it is also done to death.
Just the typical bad boy meets good girl. Falls in love. Whatever.
So I mean, we've gotten to writing, I guess. I mean, directing is just kind of... I mean, it's kind of typical. Like, I can't...
It's just plain. It's like a
pretty much.
It's like a plain Jane movie, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, I guess that's the best way to put it, really. It's just a plain directed movie. And I'm looking at, like, his previous work now, Craig Gillespie.
I don't know any of it. I looked it up. I don't know.
He directed Pam and Tommy, the TV miniseries. Like, he does TV and movies.
Oh, he did that. Okay.
Yeah.
He did Pam and Tommy. I've seen that. I thought that was entertaining.
He directed Cruella. He directed I, Tonya, which was actually pretty good.
Oh, yes. You did mention that to me.
Right.
I liked that a lot.
Yes, that was very good.
Yeah, that was well done.
I really liked Margot Robbie in that role. I was surprised how much I liked her in that role. And then he also directed Lars and the Real Girl, which is a quirky drama comedy with Ryan Gosling.
I haven't seen that,
Yeah, but he's done not so bad things, but I kind of wonder what got him to want to do this movie. So I don't know, but guess he needed the paycheck. I don't know.
Who knows?
I don't know. You want to get into spoilers?
Let's do it.
All right, let's get into spoilers for $1 Million Arm. If you haven't seen $1 Million Arm and you want to come back, you can do that by pausing and coming back when you're ready. We're going to get into spoilers for $1 Million Arm in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I liked the film. Okay.
I liked it too. I mean, I thought it was just, again, it was a plain movie, but it was a feel-good movie. It's like what you said. It's everything that Disney delivers, right? Like the typical Disney movie.
Sure. Yes. That's about the best you can say about it, I guess, at that point. I was really disappointed. I think the more interesting story is the kids. It is what they go through.
Oh, for sure.
And you learn next to nothing about it.
Right.
So, and I know if you make it about...
Also, like, after, like, when the movie ends, what happened to him?
Do you not know?
I know, because I read up on it after the fact.
Okay, good. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
But that, I think, what happens to them after is much more interesting than...
Right.
Really. So, but we'll get into it. At no point did I feel, except for, like, when Jon Hamm's character... or JB is in India. Did I ever really feel like he was truly in India? Like it...
He was acting like it was just another day at work.
Well, the first scene, no.
Yeah, like the first, when he first gets there.
All right. I think this was supposed to be a fish out of water. Like I said, is a fish out of water 2 times in this movie.
But it didn't feel like
No.
Yeah.
Of course, there are the stereotypical scenes of, oh, did you try the cuisine? Oh, what is this? Oh, it's this. Ew, that sounds disgusting.
Or like, oh, I have to. He's like, oh, my stomach, I have to use the bathroom. Like,
yeah,
that's what he says in the movie, and I'm just like, okay, like I get it. Like Indian food makes you shit, but there's nothing interesting involving him going to India. It was just very to the point. It was basically, oh, I'm in India. Okay, let's find some pictures. Okay, we found them. Okay, yep. We're in LA. Like, okay, really? Cool, guys. He goes into one kid's house in India and looks at his bedroom and then leaves.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous. Here's some things I would have liked in this. Either if you're not going to get into, I guess, the the intricacies of the kids and what they're going through, which I think would have been a much better movie, why not talk about exactly what they need and why? Because all we hear is, we just want to find good pitchers. Why is the scout played by Alan Arkin excited when the guy's a left-hander? Why is it that they want to make sure that the person is going 86, 87 miles an hour? Why is any of this important? We don't know unless you have already ingrained in what you know about baseball. So if you don't know anything about baseball and you're hearing, oh, he has to make 86, all you're giving them is, oh, so I don't have to pay attention to any of this until they find somebody who does 86 miles an hour. Like, there's no drama in that. There's nothing in that to...
Right.
I mean, are you into baseball at all?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, like, I like it. I'll go watch it live, but I'm not really like a, I'm more like a bandwagon fan.
Okay. So I understood, like, I'm into baseball a bit. And, I, as any person from my side of the town, I hate the Red Sox. So,
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I know. You filthy baggards with the Red Sox.
Screw you.
Yeah, God. Yeah. Yeah. Go back
Again, I'm not into baseball.
Go back to Duncan, okay?
But Yankees suck, man.
Oh, I hate the Yankees too. I hate the Yankees too. Don't get me started. I can't tell you how many people in high school. Oh, Yankees. Oh, Derek Jeter. Like, shut up.
Who cares about the Yankees?
Yeah, I know. But anyway, yeah, Red Sox have gotten a few championships. Whatever. Who cares? Anyway, but...
Tell me, like, what does it mean? Like, okay, 86 miles an hour?
So 86 miles an hour is the average amount of speed that a pitcher really needs to actually hit in the major league level. Not every pitcher can go 90, 95, 98, but if you hit, like, in the 80s, that's attractive to somebody to go into the farm leagues. So they can build you up and probably get you to be more speedy. Or if you can't be more speedy, you can get more deceptive pitches. There's two types of pitchers, really. There's the high heat pitchers who do 101, 102, 103. And you just like, boof, like before you swing, it's in the glove. But there's also the deceptive pitchers who do things like cutters, and they do change-ups, slurves, sliders, where curveballs, yes, where the movement is more important, and trying to outguess the opponent is a much more important tactic in there. Right. So, but if they can do 86, that's like the bare minimum of what they need in that. And when the...
But you wouldn't know from watching this movie.
Exactly.
Like, I wouldn't know that. I was like, huh?
And then with left-handers, specifically, a left-handed pitcher is worth a lot. And it means a lot, too. Like, you can have a pretty good left-handed pitcher do wonders for your club in that essence. Okay? But
again, like you said, like, too bad the movie doesn't depict any of that. Like, no. I wouldn't know. No, not at all. And then the movie does another thing that, I guess because it's for a general audience, they don't really need to care about this, but we'll get right to the end of the movie. In the end of the movie, they sign with the Pirates. Okay? What do you think that means exactly? Well, you would think, I mean, I read up on it after the fact, so I know. But
okay.
You would think that they would be in the major leagues, right? Like, they would be playing for the Pirates, like, on the field playing.
Right. But that is not what happened. What happened is that they signed with the Pirates, and I think I read somewhere it was for, like, a signing bonus of $10,000, which in that case is chump change.
That's like nothing, but I'm sure to them it was a lot because of where they came from.
Like, but that's insulting.
Right. Like, if you were an American and somebody offered you that, you'd be like, go pound sand. Like, not going to happen.
Right. But they only played a rookie single-A ball.
Right. I read up on that, yeah.
And that is as far as they went. But if you were to say that in the end of the movie, that would be a sad ending.
That'd be a Debbie Downer.
Yes, that would be a Debbie Downer, because I think Singh only did one game.
Yep, and then he went on to do something else.
Oh my God. Yeah, yes. We'll talk about that. Yeah. But yeah, like, and this is kind of why, to a certain, I don't usually do this with stories like based on a true story movies, because inherently they're supposed to stretch the truth. They're supposed to.
Right.
Because the most important thing really is to be entertaining and to keep an audience engaged. But if the true story isn't exactly entertaining,
depressing, then it's like, meh.
But that type of story could work. Like it just won't be a crowd pleaser. It won't be something that will get people in the box office, which is what Disney cares about most. So, yes, they would have to change exactly what the story. Well, they didn't change. They just omitted certain truths specifically in this movie. So yeah, I mean, my issue with the movie is like it's not bad. I did like it, but my issue
it kept my interest.
Yes, which for a movie, I think that's bare minimum at that point. Just keep my interest. Right. Yeah, so I enjoyed the movie. It was entertaining. It kept my interest, but that's like the bare minimum in this. But with the story that was there, I think the most disappointing thing I had with the movie is that there's a better story in this. And they just chose a different... I guess
like they chose... a different angle, almost.
They chose the safe route.
Yeah, I agree with you there. They did choose the safe route. They chose the, again, let's make Jon Hamm the star. And let's focus in on the, douchey agent that becomes lovable at the end because it's just an easier route to go.
Right. Like, it was more like... It's not, how can we make this a good story, and more, how can we appeal this to the Midwest? How can we appeal this to blue-collar people? How can we get people who only watch 5 movies a year? How can we appeal to those people? That's
exactly.
That's where it was. And that's fine. That's fine. But it doesn't necessarily make a really compelling movie in the end of that. I was kind of disappointed, but I enjoyed it, but it was fine. I kind of wonder how much of the romance is true. to be fair.
What do you mean? I think most of it is, from what I read.
You really believe that the kids dressed up in India in that scene to have a date with the two characters?
Oh, I don't know about that part, but I mean, like, just the fact that when the agent met the girl and everything like that, like all that part's true. I know that's true. I know he met a girl named that person, and they got married. I get that. I know that's true. I'm saying, so you're talking about like like the moments.
Right, the moments, the plot line. I'm wondering how much of that's true. I'm gonna say probably none. I'm thinking probably none too.
It
just seems a little formulaic.
And like, she really randomly has this like Indian outfit, and like when like they go to have like dinner, and she's wearing this like Indian, I don't know what they're called. Like
I don't know either, unfortunately.
And she's like all dressed up. I'm like, where'd she get that? Like,
yeah, and this doesn't really matter. Because, to me at least, because I have gotten used to the fact that when I hear based on a true story, there's a lot of fiction in between. I know that
it's a given.
Movies. Yes. So I'm fine with that to a certain extent. And it's entertaining. I just think there was a better story in this, and they chose the wrong angle. That's my feeling on it. Do you have more that you want to spoil or want to talk about?
I don't think so.
Really?
I mean, well...
Come on. Let's talk about that you didn't get to see Jon Hamm's butt. Let's do it. We have 20 minutes. Let's go.
He is so handsome. Oh, I just love him. When it comes to spoilers, it's a true story. I think too, just reading up on it, kind of spoils it enough for you if you read up on the true story before you watch the actual movie. But I mean, after reading like some of the facts online, and again, who knows sometimes what's true online and what's not, right? I think that they did a good job portraying the agent's story.
Yeah, I know.
Right? Like, I feel like to a T that is how this person was, but again, I don't know if that was the right angle to go. Like you said, there's a deeper story here, but
yeah,
I think that they kind of focused in on his story, and they told his story well. But it wasn't hard to tell his story because it's typical.
I mean, let's be fair here. Jerry Maguire still exists. So.
Oh, I love Jerry Maguire.
So did I. It's one of the first R-rated movies I saw in theaters. But
so good.
The agent angle was like, okay, fine, but it's like, it's not the interesting part of the story. It's the kid.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is if like somebody was watching it for that story, like it was fine. Like it was well done from like the I mean, I don't want to say well done. It was okay, like telling the agent's story. That's what happened to him, right? Like that is the true story of what happened to that agent.
Right.
But again, it's like, well, what about the kids' stories? So
right. It was fine, I guess.
I was just surprised that it was like a true story. He really was losing his business.
Yes.
He really did go over there and like literally put up like a contest.
Yep. No,
Like,
definitely.
I was like, what? And the fun fact is they say like I don't know if it's still now, but after the movie, he was still doing that contest.
He might have stopped during the pandemic, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's continuing. But yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
Like I was like, oh wow, like he's still like recruiting these kids, and like I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah. The big thing about it is there's a huge potential market there that the MLB has not used. So.
And I did kind of like how they depicted that though, because I didn't know that about baseball and like the Indian market. And you know, like I thought it was interesting when he was talking to the what was the guy's name that owned like the whole franchise, I guess, and he was like backing him. He was an Asian fellow.
Let me find
Yeah. Well, I liked when JB, Jon Hamm, was talking to him and saying, you know, hey, like this is a whole market we could tap into. Like, you know, they're going to come to see these Indian boys play and they have to buy t-shirts and buy hats, and like the Indian culture like hasn't been exposed to baseball and this and that. And it's like, I didn't really think of that until I watched this movie.
Right.
So I thought that part was kind of interesting.
Yeah. The business owner's name was Chang.
That's his name? Chang?
Yeah. It had the IMDb credit is Chang.
Okay.
So don't shoot the messenger. I guess the only other thing I want to talk about is what happened to Rinku. I don't know what happened to Dinesh in this. Again, they played for like a season, and then I think Dinesh became a business owner, or I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, I forget too, but I think he only played like one game or something.
Right. But I know the one guy, Rinku. His is interesting. He continued to be an athlete, but in a way that might surprise some people. Rinku Singh, after he got into baseball, he stopped. He tried again for baseball, and I think he got another season, but it didn't last very long. He then trained and bulked up and became a wrestler in the WWE under the name Veer Mahan. Okay, he is under the NXT program. He became a professional wrestler, which, again, I was like, that's interesting. It's like, that's really interesting. I think he became a sidekick to one wrestler called Jinder Mahal. This is when WWE was trying to make a play for India. And again, like, I guess that's kind of what they decided to do in this one. So, Jinder, I know there was a period of time. I know a little bit of wrestling history, but I don't watch wrestling. Don't let me explain it because it's too confusing. WWE was trying to hit the Indian market in a big way. And they started with Jinder Mahal, and I think they were trying to go there with Rinku Singh as Veer Mahan. And I think he's still there to a certain extent, but I'm not entirely sure. But I'm not into NXT.
It says that he started in January of 2018. Interesting. And made his non-televised debut in May.
Yeah, he could still be there. Huh. He could still be there. But as for Dinesh Patel, there's not much about him, really.
He's married, 2 children. Let's see.
Of course, yeah. When you're an athlete, chicks love athletes. Just how it is.
I think he went back to... After signing with the Pirates, let's see.
Yeah, he went back to India. I know that.
Yeah, he went back to school, I think.
Yes. Okay, that is right. I'm just not sure what he does now. But they turned out well, which, you know, in that case, sometimes that doesn't turn out very well, unfortunately. But they turned out okay. But yeah, I mean,
sometimes, especially kids that age, struggling in a new country, and you know they turn to drugs or alcohol or the wrong crowd or whatever.
Like in that specifically, Like, there are so many things, especially with the difference of culture changes,
right,
that could go wrong in that. And the fact that they've actually turned out well is really good, especially going from India to America. I mean, you go from India, where they were, that isn't abundant of resources, to America, where it's everywhere. Like,
right.
But yeah, Kim, final thoughts on $1 Million Arm?
I think I will give it 3 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a nice feel-good movie. You know, if you're looking for, like you mentioned, you know, if you're a person that only watches sports movies every now and then, and you wanted to watch it with your family, it's a really nice movie to do so. Obviously, I gave it 3 stars and not like 2 or 2.5 because I love Jon Hamm, and I always will love Jon Hamm.
Oh, boy.
He's just Jon Hamm, and he deserves at least 3 stars, no matter what role he's in. But no, in all seriousness, I thought it was just a very plain Jane, basic, feel-good Disney movie, your typical sports story. And yeah, I do have to say another thing I agree with you on, which is so weird. I feel like I've been agreeing with you so much lately, and that is very weird for me because usually I always disagree with you.
When you recognize brilliance, Kim, it's just what happens.
I think it's because the older I get, the wiser I get. I don't know.
Exactly.
So,
this is how it is.
I just do agree with you that it was just like just very basic.
By the numbers.
By the numbers, yeah.
Okay. We're going to have to start watching movies that specifically you like so I can tear them down so we can argue. That's just how we're going to have to do this. Yeah. I'm going to give it 2.5 out of 5. It is average at best. I did like Lake Bell in this. Really, as much as I did like her and I did enjoy the movie, I can't deny that there was a better story in here, and it shortchanged what I think the true stars and what the movie should have been about, which are the kids. I could not care less about the agent, even though I do like Jon Hamm. And it's a decent performance, but it was a pretty stereotypical type of movie in that aspect, where they had this unique flavor that they could have had in this movie, and that could have been these kids and their story and what they went through, but they went to this other route, which I found much less interesting. 2.5 stars. It's fine. It is entertaining. It keeps you occupied. It keeps you interested. You're not bored. There's some funny parts to it, but other than that, I will probably forget this in a week.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
Sorry. That's probably what will happen.
Yeah, it's not memorable. It's not a memorable
not
movie
not
whatsoever.
Speaking of memorable, Kim, we're going to remember this for the rest of our lives. You ready?
I'm ready.
We got an email.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. People are listening. Oh
Dude,
my God. Okay.
We are famous.
Woo! Yes. Okay. So, we got this email from this absolute stranger that I absolutely do not know in any way, form, or circumstance. We do not know this person. I just want to make this clear. We do not know. We are not affiliated by this person.
We have no idea.
Absolutely no idea
whatsoever.
This person's name is Morgan, and this person emails. Since I heard your request for baseball movie suggestions on the last podcast you did with Kim, I thought I would put in my 2 cents. Morgan said 1, Angels in the Outfield, because it was that person's favorite movie as a kid. 2 is A League of Their Own, because there's no crying in baseball. Good movie. We both watched that movie. I like that movie quite a bit.
Love it.
But we're going to do number 3, Kim. And number 3 is Field of Dreams, because this person needs a reason to finally watch this movie. So we're giving it to you, Morgan. We're going to give it to you. Yay. We're going to watch Field of Dreams, starring Kevin Costner and directed by by Phil Alden Robinson. This name sounds so familiar. He might have... Did he do Hoosiers? He might have. Anyway, doesn't matter. It's been a long time since I've watched Field of Dreams.
Oh my God, I cannot even remember the last time I watched that movie. I was telling you earlier, it came out in 1989.
Yes. I must have been like 7 or 8 when I saw this.
Yeah, like young.
And that is not an age to review movies. I started reviewing movies at 13. Just to give you guys a hint of how snobby I have been all my life, 13 is when it started. So, 8, I was pure back then. I was pure. But then
then he started talking with me at what, 14, 15? I think I was 15.
Yes.
I was 15.
Yes, yeah. You've dealt with probably some of the worst of me at that point.
Yeah, that's when we used to argue all the time.
Yes,
good times.
Absolutely, good times. Absolutely. We're gonna watch in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Field of Dreams, starring Kevin Costner, directed by Phil Alden Robinson. Kim needs her time away from me, so she's going to. You're gonna go on vacation to Aruba with your husband. Enjoy, have fun. Is this
Thank you.
Is this a vacation, or is this a work vacation?
Oh no, this is a vacation.
Nice. Okay.
This is a toes in the sand, drink in my hand type of vacation.
Nice. Don't do anything that will scare the locals.
Oh God.
Okay. I learned this when I went to Texas.
Well, what did you do?
Moving on. So after that point, since you are not going to be here for another 2 weeks, it would be unfair for me to just say, oh, I'm just going to take the day off. No, I'm here for you, people. I'm here for you.
Yeah, you're just obsessed.
Shut up, Kim. Anyway, so I'm not gonna watch a baseball movie. We're gonna save that for Kim when she comes back. I'm gonna watch a movie that Kim, I gotta be honest with you, I just feel obligated to watch.
What is it? Now I'm curious.
I'm gonna watch Clerks 3.
What? There's a Clerks 3?
Well, there is a lot that's happened. Yes, there is a Clerks 3. Clerks 3 came out last year in theaters. It had a really strange way of opening in theaters. I'll talk about that during the episode. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it.
When I get back, I'll have to listen to your episode because...
Yeah, enjoy your vacation first before you put up with me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Oh, God.
So, next week, I alone will be reviewing Clerks. Maybe I can get Zero involved. Nah, I'm not going to do that to him. I talked about it with him. He was like, no, So, I won't do that to him. So, next week, I alone will be reviewing Clerks 3, directed by Kevin Smith and starring Brian O'Halloran and I forgot the name, Jeff Anderson, directed by Kevin Smith. In 2 weeks, me and Kim will be reviewing Field of Dreams, starring Kevin Costner. I'm excited for your vacation. I'm not excited to watch Clerks 3, really. But yeah, that is it.
Sorry.
I've seen every Kevin Smith film. This is the only reason why I'm doing this.
Okay, all right.
I feel obligated to do this.
Yeah, you're seeing it through. You're seeing it through.
Essentially, yeah. Like it's like the people who watched the last Star Wars movie and they're like, oh, I've seen the other 8. I gotta, even though they knew it was terrible, and it was terrible. But yeah, ugh. Ugh. So anyway, next week I'll be watching Clerks 3. In 2 weeks we'll be watching Field of Dreams. And until next time, this is Capital Games Movie Club. I am the Wiz.
And I am Kim Shactman.
We will talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.